Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. Joining me, it is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle in studio with us. How's it going tonight, Hinkle?
Great. I'm ready for some Flyers hockey.
I think many of us are ready for the Four Nations face-off break, which is really, really exciting that we're going to have a couple of days off. I want to talk about that and John Tortorella and some quotes he had today and over the last few days. Because, man, I think everyone just needs a little time off from each other right now.
Me and John need to take a break from each other.
But there are some things going on with this Flyers team, beginning with the lineup tonight. We see the morning skate at least line up, and it looks like this is what it's going to be because I don't have any other guys. Jordan Hall tweeted this out. Jordan Hall tweeted this out today. It's Cates between Forster and Brink. Abels is now our 2C, I guess like 1C because he's with Konechny. Lawton on the other wing. Coots, Tony Dick, and Michkov, and Jacob Gaucher, Nick Delorier, and Garnett Hathaway in what is a very fun line to say. Away. Play in the hay. Go by the bay. Anyway, I just may. Anyway, so that's the lineup tonight. The defense remains the same. We have York Sanheim, Sealer Drysdale, and Emil Andre, Eric Johnson. They're still not here yet, Kelly. We have a bunch of guys hurt. There's like up in the air, maybe Owen Tippett tonight. Rasmus Ristolainen, I think, is still out. But chances are this is going to be your lineup. And a big reason is this just keeps getting more ridiculous. Jakob Pelletier and Andrei Kuzmenko, they're not available. The paperwork is done for Kuzmenko. Maybe for Pelletier too, we're not sure yet, but at least one of them, the paperwork is finally done. They can come here, but the Flyers flew them to Toronto so they can maybe get here faster, and they're delayed because of weather. Apparently weather is bad everywhere, but like at my house. Yeah, Charlie is stuck at the airport in Chicago. 2 Flyers are stuck in Canada. This is just getting out of hand.
Another massive failure by General Manager Danny Briere. Can't get things done.
I'm all for criticizing this organization for a lot of their failures. And like even this trade, which I think was fine, I just started thinking today, like, you know, it took you a long time to come to this realization. Maybe you should have done this summer and you could have got a little better of a return. But regardless, like, this is not a thing I'm going to criticize them over.
No.
It's the government and the weather. 2 things that the Flyers cannot control.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, it is Comcast.
Not yet, anyway.
It doesn't seem all that difficult to.
I'm sure Comcast has some control over the weather, honestly.
Yeah.
A
little
bit.
Just like now and then, maybe they can control the weather. I don't know.
Sparingly,
but yeah, that's what's going on with the team. This thing is, Hinkle. This is only an us thing. Like it just seems like one of those things that only happens to the Flyers. Like, we couldn't get their visas. Now we have at least one of their visas, and their flight's canceled. Like, how are we Flyers fans? How do we deal with this?
The Flyers, like, the soundtrack to the team is like that yakety sax music. Like, they just don't, it's just this, like, I don't know why this stuff always happens. And I honestly don't know if it's just us, or if we just feel like it's just us, but it does seem like it's just us. It's very funny to me that you can't really get a direct flight from Calgary to Philly. It doesn't really exist. So that's probably why they had to go through Toronto, but it's very funny to me that like they probably could have gone 17 other ways. Like through Phoenix or something. Yeah, I don't know. But it's just very funny to me that they were like, yeah, just go to Toronto. It'll be fine. It's right there. And then it was like,
it's right there.
There's ice everywhere. Sorry.
Yeah, this is just becoming a bit of a farce. And now with one game for them to potentially make before the Four Nations break.
Maybe we'll see them before then.
There's going to be a 2-week break, and then these guys are going to join the team, and it's like, hey, nice to meet you. Yeah. You traded for me a month ago.
Right, I know, right?
This whole thing is funny. Oh, and this last one I had from Jordan Hall here just about tonight's lineup. I had it backwards. Torts says Owen Tippett definitely out. He was unsure about Risto, but Ristolainen wasn't on the ice at morning skate. Zamula and Poehling are both out with upper body injuries as well. So this is the lineup. This is what we have to deal with right now, Hinkle.
It sure is.
And man, how did you have Rodrigo Bulls centering Travis Konechny on your bingo card for this season?
Don't think I did, Bill. Also wouldn't have had Tony Dick as Matvei Michkov's other winger.
Yeah,
that's a choice. I mean, I don't want to like yell about this lineup because like, what are you supposed to do with that group of dudes?
This is the problem. Like, this is why they're rebuilding, because they don't have very many good guys.
Yeah, but also like, I feel like I'm never gonna stop harping on putting Matvei Michkov in the best possible position to come out of his slump thing that I am on. I don't really know what it is, but I don't think it's Couturier and Tony Dick.
I think Forster Cates Michkov, like that's it. Like that's the only possible.
Let's go with that.
They did try Konechny on that line, but now they're kind of mix matching a little here because they only have the 12 guys. Like
once again,
a bunch of them aren't even NHL players.
These lines won't be the same for half the game anyway.
Yeah, and honestly, with a Gaucher, Delorier, 2/3 of your fourth line, like it can't be. The coach has shown no interest in playing Gaucher more than like 6 minutes.
No.
Nick Delorier, we know his limitations. And Garnett Hathaway, listen, we all enjoy him, and he draws a ton of penalties, but he rarely plays more than, 10, 12 minutes? Like, it's just not a thing the coach is really willing to do. So they're going to have to mix some things around.
The A line.
It's Delorier, Gaucher, Hathaway. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
So this is,
we got that going for us.
This is what we're looking at tonight, and it is what it is. This lineup, they're going to come out and win because we're sitting here like, my God, look at this. This is ridiculous.
They love to make us look stupid, so really we should do every pregame just assuming that they're going to lose.
Obviously, against the division leaders, they're going to come out and win somehow. That would be that. I do want to get to John Tortorella because this is one of those, we're all looking for the guy who did this situation.
That is exactly what popped into my head when I read this infuriating quote.
Because like I was happy with Tortorella. Let's play. It's John Tortorella talking in his morning availability, I believe, today about the situation with Matvei Michkov and the benching the other day. He sat for the final 30 minutes of the game. This is Torts talking about that.
I know you don't want to talk about what specifically happened, but I mean, it looked like he kind of snapped back.
Absolutely.
A little bit. I mean, and you strike me as someone that would appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. And then it's done with. I was done with that. It was 10 minutes after that happened. I was done with it. I still think I need to go through the process. Quite honestly, if I had to do it again, I probably should have played him in the third period. If I had to do it again, I would have. But shoulda, coulda, woulda. I learned too, and so we emotion is a double-edged sword. You know, it's a really good thing, but it's also you make mistakes with it too. And I think we both live in that world.
Oh,
John Tortorella.
God.
John Tortorella will be 67 years old in June.
You know, Bill, you never stop learning.
He is coached, as we found out the other day. You know, they made a big deal, 1600th game. It's now 1602 regular season games.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah, I am fine with the managing of the minutes. I've said that. And Matvei Michkov needs to be coached hard. He needs to be coached the way you coach everybody else. You can't set up a situation of the resentment that they had towards Ivan Provorov, where it seemed like he got handled different from everybody. Eric Lindros had a situation where this locker room did not like him, a lot of guys at least, because he was treated special. You don't want that with Matvei Michkov. Fine. But I at least appreciate Torts going, I was done with it 10 minutes ago, because when I read it, I'm thinking, well, then 10 minutes later, why didn't you play him again?
Yeah.
And then he acknowledges the ridiculousness of that statement and says, yeah, I probably should have played him.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's just, I really think...
Many people are saying.
I really think this break is so needed for this team right now. Thank God it's not just like a little bit of an all-star break. It is a full, basically like 13 or 15 days off or something.
And
they need it so bad.
no one on the team is allowed to talk to each other.
No.
Like everyone has to go radio silent for 2 weeks. You are not allowed to breathe the same air as John Tortorella for 2 weeks.
Everyone needs to go away.
Yeah, he's not allowed to talk to anybody. That should be the rule.
Yeah.
He is... I mean, I guess I should take it as a positive that he looked at that and he was like, yeah, that was stupid. Why'd I do that? But also,
how does that help me now?
You're nearly 70, my dude.
And it is like a make good, like, listen, Mish, you yelled at me. I got defensive, blah, blah, blah. And
grow up.
That's not good.
No, you're an adult.
Not good that he goes, I'm emotional too. Like, you're the one who's supposed to be teaching the child.
Yes, you're supposed to control your emotions. You're the one that's in charge.
I just found that very common. More than anything, like
spicy Italians.
I think it's dumb, but mostly I'm entertained by this. I think it's funny, but it just speaks to an issue that this team has right now. Like, how much torts are we going to be dealing with? He had the final year of his contract is next season. Nobody wants to go into a lame duck season. Like, coaches hate that. Now, this is a little different. It's John Tortorella, 1. And 2, he's kind of more than just the head coach of this team, it seems. He's kind of part of the brain trust, part of the front office a bit. He's being tasked with all the evaluation of guys at the pro level. Like, where do you see this going, Hinkle? Do you think he's the coach of this team next year?
I hope that he's not, because as I've said several times sitting in this chair, I think that he's done all that he can do. A fine job at the things we asked him to do, and now it's time to go away. That said, I don't think that the front office will ask him to leave, barring some kind of disaster. And I don't think they're going to see this season as a disaster because the roster is what it is. So unless Torts decides he's ready to go upstairs, I think we're probably stuck with him. And I do kind of think that if Danny goes to him and says, all right, what do you want to do next year? And he's like, I still want to coach. I'm fairly sure he'll still be coaching. And that sucks, I think, a little bit. Because I'm just not sure, what more we get from him and his scratchings.
That's I like John Tortorella for the most part in the role he's in. Like, when it's time to win, I want him to go bye-bye because he's not very good at that. Like, he hasn't been the coach of a good team in a long time. I do think he's a good teacher. He has his idiosyncrasies. He has things that annoy the hell out of me, annoy the hell out of all of us. But I think he is a good teacher. That said, I think the best course of action right now is, okay, we have this baseline. We have the John Tortorella baseline of play the right way. We know how to do all these things. We've built this culture back up a little bit. Like, we know what we're supposed to do, and we can win these rock fight games. We have this mentality. And it's probably getting to about the time that maybe he's not the coach of this team, or he's in a different role. Like, he's the head coach, but he's upstairs like he was at the end of, last season when he wasn't even coaching the games at the end of the year. Like, maybe that's more of a thing where you have, your coordinators kind of handling stuff. Or maybe they just, when Mike Sullivan, inevitably loses his job in Pittsburgh, they just bring him in and it's all over. Like, who knows? But I do think we might be getting to the tail end of this Tortorella thing.
One would think.
And I'm not even saying he's doing a bad job. I just don't know how much more there is to gain from John Tortorella when it's like, yeah, we're all learning. Well, you shouldn't be.
No.
You're the teacher.
And also, we just had that player poll come out where John overwhelmingly was the coach that NHL players would least like to play for. Not even remotely close as far as that poll went. But even that, when you look around the league, the best teams today seem to have player-friendly coaches. Paul Maurice down in Florida, Brindy in Carolina, Bednar, I think, is a team guy. I don't know if this model of hard ass works with dudes that are 22 right now. You know what I mean? I just don't know if this is the path to success in the modern NHL.
And that's, like, again, I think he's good for right now, even with the stuff that annoys the hell out of me. But whether it's this summer or soon, like Danny Briere was talking about big game hunting. You're going to need in a, this isn't a tax-free state, Pennsylvania. It is not it's who Adams in Buffalo said, like, we have taxes and we don't have palm trees. Like, this isn't a premier destination. Now, there's a lot of things that make Philly great, and you can sell free agents on that. At the end of the day, like, pay up and dudes will come.
Yeah.
But you have to be chosen in free agency. And if John Tortorella is a hindrance to that, I don't even know if it makes sense to, like, go out and try to sign a big ticket free agent this summer. Listen, if you can get like an offer sheet or something, on a young guy, that makes sense. But the 27, 28-year-old first time free agents, I don't know if they really make sense at this point in the game. But regardless, somebody has to go, yes, I want to play for you. Let me write my name down on this contract. I don't know if this is the best way to convince, if we're Florida or Tampa, coming off of dominating the East for the last few years, and we have the tax advantages and we have the weather. Cool. If we're Vegas, same thing, dominating the West, doing all that, like, sure. Yeah. Or if you have other amazing players, because I would love to go play with Connor McDavid. And you know what? I'll sign a shorter term thing, bump up my stats, and I'll hit the market again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we don't have any of those advantages, so we can't have the disadvantages of John Tortorella. Like, that's what it comes down to. But I don't know when that time actually is. I just know I'm starting to see this thing crater a little.
Yeah, if like 60-some% or whatever of the anonymous NHL players that you asked, who don't you want to play for? And the answer is John Tortorella. And eventually you're going to have to start attracting big name free agents. Like, your odds aren't in your favor there, bud. Like, you might want to get a guy that people want to play for. You can argue with like, oh, you're too soft. Like, oh, why don't you want to play for John Tortorella? I don't want you on my team if you don't want. Okay, let's say Connor McDavid is a free agent and the Flyers have $20 million in cap space to throw at him. And he's like, nah, I don't want to play for John Tortorella. Like, whose fault is that? Are we blaming Connor McDavid because he doesn't want? No, that's stupid. So, like, at some point, you have to acknowledge that he was here to do a thing, build the culture, weed out the weak ones. He did that. Thank you for your service. Now go do something else.
We'll see how it all plays out. It's going to be an interesting, I believe, 27 games, including tonight, until the end of the season on April 17th. We'll see how it all goes. But now it's time for the bets. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, just one tonight, and it's like the most obvious bet of all time. An Alex Ovechkin anytime goal at plus 115. Listen, it's not a huge payoff, but it's freaking the greatest goal scorer of all time ever to score a goal. Obviously, it's not going to be a great payoff. He is 16 goals behind Wayne Gretzky. He needs 17 to break the record.
Let's go.
And maybe he gets them all tonight.
He could.
I'm actually the plus 150. This is the anytime goal, plus 115. I'm betting this. But I actually have this breakdown of Ovie and his career against the Flyers I want to get to in a minute. And his highest scoring period against the Flyers is the second period. I think I'm going to try to get him to score in the second period at first intermission. Okay. Right now, a first period Ovie goal is plus 450. So I'm hoping to maybe get that after the first. He's got 20 of Ovie's 50 goals against the Flyers in the regular season have come in the second period. Flyers are awful in the second period. Perhaps that's a match tonight. So we will see about that. That is our one and only bet. And Alex Ovechkin anytime goal. I want to talk about Ovie for a second, Hinkle, because I just like the more you look at the numbers, the more insane they become. And it also like retroactively makes me mad at the NHL. Like he needs 17 to break the record. His entire rookie season never happened. He had half of a season with the 13 lockout, half of a season with COVID. Listen, there's nothing you can do about COVID. The world got shut down. That's not on the NHL. But, like, he's had 3 seasons basically cut in half and an entire season. And, like, remember, it's his rookie. He scored 52 goals as a rookie. Like, he'd be there. He'd be on. We'd be like, can Ovie get to 1,000? Or he'd be over 1,000 by now. Like, just thinking about, those goal scoring pace he was on at those times. He had, in the lockout shortened 13 season, he had, I think, 32 goals in 48 games. Like, he led the league. I think he had like 32. He had like 30 something the year before. And it was like, oh, Ovie's kind of fallen off a little. And then he leads the league in scoring with 32 goals at that lockout. Like, he'd be there, and that's annoying. But he's got 878 goals, again, 16 behind Gretzky's 894. He has 25 goals in 37 games this year. He has really turned back the clock since the second half of last year. And it kind of at one point looked like, all right, he's going to get there, but he's going to limp into this thing. And, he still has a chance to do it this year with the first major injury of his life. I will say, though, and honestly, this I find very funny. 7 empty netters this year. 7 of his 25 goals are empty netters. He's got 63 for his career. That's the most ever. If you're like, oh, that's kind of cheap. Gretzky is second with 56. So
listen, here's the thing about empty net goals.
You got to be out there to get them.
Got to be out there to get them. And also, your team has to be leading for this to even be a situation that you're in. So you earn the empty net goals.
And you essentially end the game.
Yeah.
I always equate empty net goals to saves in baseball. Is the save the most impressive thing? No, sometimes it's the bottom of the order and like the team's no good. You're up 3. It doesn't really matter, but you get a save for that. And sometimes like you close out the World Series and get a save. Empty net goals, listen, you ended the game.
Yep.
You put it away. That's like game over, we win.
Yeah.
They count, man. But I want to get to Ovie's 50 goals because there's some good names and some fun stuff in here I want to get to. So he has 76 career regular season games against the Flyers, 50 goals. He has scored at least 1 goal in 42 of those 76 games. He scored on 13 different Flyers goalies, Henkel.
Amazing.
This list is really good.
8 of them in 1 year.
Yeah. He got all 8. Yeah. So 6 against Antero Niittymaki, Steve Mason, and Carter Hart. 5 apiece against Robert Esch and Ray Emery. 4 goals against Briz and Brian Elliott. 3 against Marty Biron. 2 against Alex Lyon and Sam Ersson. 1 against Sergei Bobrovsky. 1 against Peter Mrazek. 1 against Felix Sandstrom. And 4 empty netters. He's looking to make Ivan Fedotov the 14th Flyers goalie he has scored on in his career.
I believe he will.
I honestly can't believe it isn't more.
It seems like it should be more, doesn't it?
Like, that's a lot, but we've been like, he's been in the Flyers division since the lockout.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised it wasn't more, but like, that is a lot of goalies.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Like, and
we've had so many.
We've just had, we had 1 year with 8.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just, but this is, it's what a freaking career. This dude, it's unbelievable how good he is at this one specific thing and still so good at it.
We are very lucky to have been able to watch this.
I like seeing records get broken.
Me too.
That's the thing is I want to see as much cool stuff as possible. Mm-hmm. And this is just one of those things. I know he's on a rival team. I know we all don't love Ovie. And listen, he knocked Couturier out of that 16 playoff series. That was really the chance. But I have enjoyed watching Alex Ovechkin play and him and Crosby go head-to-head all these years. Like, it's been good stuff. Something he has never done against the Philadelphia Flyers, though, despite these gaudy numbers, Henkel. He has 31 career regular season hat tricks, none of them against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, what are the odds on that one on Bet365?
I was wondering that. You can definitely bet him to score 2+ goals.
The Flyers love to do this guy's never done this thing against us.
It is something worth considering potentially when you look at this Flyers lineup. And Ivan Fedotov's been better, but low bar. We'll see when the greatest goal scorer of all time is ripping shots at him, how much better he looks.
Something tells me always going to be able to pick those corners pretty
maybe check it out. And again, just goals by period. 14 in the first against the Flyers, 20 in the second, 15 in the third, and 1 in overtime. Only one
Just
overtime
one.
winner, also surprising.
That is surprising.
And 27 of the goals have come in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo or Wachovia. And I couldn't believe he was never at the First Union Center.
That was a real long time
And then
ago.
I was like, wait, no, I'm old.
Yeah.
Like that was that was the name of it 10 years before
Right.
Ovie came into the league.
Yeah.
All right, I think I saw some super chats, so I want to
Hey.
get to those before we get out of here. All right, there's one from
Gary
Gary
B.
B. Tony Dick and Mish together. Could we see fireworks?
Yes, one single firework.
Yeah,
Gary.
A1 firework.
Firework.
I mean, it's also Coots centering. He is a black hole of offense. But I've liked Coots and Michkov together because he knows to go to the net for this guy. And you have a little speed. Maybe an outlet pass from Michkov to Tony Dick or something like that. I don't mind this group. It is, I mean,
Listen,
there are
we're
no
gonna see.
answers.
No.
There's no good answers. They tried the Couturier-Michkov Konechny line last game. They decided, no, we're going to go a different way here. They're mixing everything up, kind of spreading it out. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Maybe it's a fun game. I'm kind of going into this like the Flyers are going to lose 5-0, but
I'm just
maybe they wake up. They're back home. That could be fun.
This is one of those games where it's like, all right, if the Flyers are going to lose, I would like Ovie. Get the hat trick.
Yeah, get
Like,
the
let's
hat
go.
trick.
Come
Sure.
on.
All right. From Michael McCullen, Flyers need to demand a 25 first for Risto and draft every damn one of the players in the first 2 rounds. Not
Sure.
ready for a soft 1C.
Okay.
All right. That
They
would be
should
cool.
do all of those things. Sure.
I very much doubt that they're going to make the 7 picks they already have. I
No.
wouldn't mind if they honestly kick a pick down the road to kind of load up for the future, because that's also trade ammo for the future.
Yeah.
Different assets, different value. Like, wouldn't hate it. And also, this is something I was listening to Flyers Daily today that never dawned on me. Like, say you make 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. Say you make 12 picks in a draft. Do you have any idea how crowded that would make prospect and development camp? Like, you honestly, like, logistically might not just want to do it. Also, there's a contract limit, all that stuff.
It's too many guys.
Like, it might just be too many guys. I wouldn't mind, like, a 2026 pick for Risto. You never know what those things could be, especially, like, these teams are contenders now. They're going all in.
Right.
What happens in a year or two when it hits the fan? Now, you could go the other way, and like we did with the Florida pick, all right, kick the can down the road, and they win the cup. It's the 32nd pick. Well, so be it.
Also,
like,
the experts are saying now that this draft isn't as good as they thought it was going to be.
yeah,
So maybe
we
you
always hear something. Listen,
No one knows. That's the
remember
thing
the
about drafting.
2017 draft?
No one knows anything. That's the thing that like no one everyone say out
Yes.
loud. No one knows anything about the draft until 5 years later.
Yes.
And then everyone looks back and is like, oh yeah.
Never forget the
I knew that.
2017 draft where it was,
Consensus 1-2.
It's Nolan Patrick is number 1 for like a year and a half consensus. And then this Nico Hischier guy pops up. It's like, oh yeah, he's number 1, definitely. He's good, don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know, Cale Makar probably should have gone 1. And Colorado, after they get jumped and dropped to 4, was furious.
Yeah.
And then they got the next Bobby Orr. So like, no one knows.
No one knows.
Who knows? All right. And finally from JH, woo, let's tag Flyers.
Yay.
Listen, I don't even know if they need the tank. I think they just need to go out there and play, and like the tanking will take care of itself,
Well, that's the thing.
quite honestly.
Tanking implies agency.
Yeah.
They're not trying to tank.
Yeah, this
They're
is
trying
just
to
like-
win hockey games. They
It's just
think,
like, we're out of guys. Yeah.
these are the guys.
But hey,
And they're all going to do their best.
could be a lot worse. All right, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you follow us right here on YouTube. Hit that reminder bell. Never miss a live show. We'll be back as soon as this game goes final with post-game, so tune in for that. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. That's where I do all my in-game tweeting. And follow the podcast as well, just for funsies. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right, I'm Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until post-game, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.